show you. We are back after technical difficulties. So I'm just going to continue the same thing. So through the slit, and then up right next to it, and then right to left through.
How come your slit isn't frayed?
Because I have not touched it too much. The less you touch it, the less it'll fray. And what's really nice about the handwork buttonhole is that because you're tying knots around it, it'll prevent it from fraying once you're done. So the less I sort of mess with things, the better off they are. It's a good lesson for life as well.
It's like your hair.
Yeah.
The more you touch it, the greasier it gets.
I know.
Life is like your hair.
On the machine that does that to the ends too.
That does.
One of the stitches.
Not like this, no. I mean, there's different stitches that'll do different things, but this level of finish is just not possible with machine, which is why it's called the hand bound and why it's really only found in high-end tailoring and couture garments, because it really does take somebody who knows how to do it, and of course more people is more labor, right? So, and then you have two options for how to handle the ends here. One option is just to sort of create a tack like here, so just a back and forth, and then one is to kind of fan your stitches around. So I'm going to do one of each. I'll do the fan stitch first. You can also do this where you sort of cut out that keyhole end, so you cut a little circle at the end, and then you sort of fan around that circle. Creates a really lovely keyhole finish on those buttonholes rather. We need a couple of those, and then we'll come back down this side. So we have just a slightly rounded edge on that one. Yeah, I think the closest machine bound buttonhole that I've seen that comes closest to this are those like singers from the early 1900s where you can put in a template and it creates a really beautiful finished buttonhole.
Why don't they make those anymore?
Everything was made out of cast iron, so it was expensive. So you don't. Most of our machines are now made of plastic, you know.
Oh.
Okay.
You can find them at estate sales sometimes.
Yes, you can. And then also, it's a little tricky because once you put in the templates, it's like a whole like contraption that you add to the machine. And then once you've added that contraption, then it moves your fabric around for you. So it like turns your fabric. So you just have to be ready for that level of craziness. But they are gorgeous.
Wow, so you're doing this around the entire hole.
Yes.
And is that the fan method? Is that what you said?
The fan method is what gives me this sort of circular look here at the bottom.
Okay.
Right? The rest of this is just a standard bound buttonhole stitch.
What you're
or
doing
a
currently.
hand buttonhole stitch, yep.
Oh, that's
And
really
is that
cool.
just to secure it? Put it in the fan?
Yeah, because you at each end you have to secure it in some method, and we can do the bar tack method or we can do the fan method. I've done the fan method on one end, I'm going to do the bar tack on the other so you can see what they look like. Okay, here we are. So now we're here at the end. Do one last knot here. And then what I'm going to do is the bar tack method, so I'll put my needle in this other end where I first started, and then I'll come up right where I came out just the one before, so I'm going all the way across from one end to the other. I'm going to do that. I'm going to repeat that exact same stitch again, and then I'm going to put it down in the hole that originally came out of, just like that, So here I have like a long line bar tack there. So if you get any high-end tailoring done, your tailor has been chewing on your clothing for you.
Great. Makes me want to get a suit right now.
But it really does help like line up all of those little guys right there. You get all the little knots right along the edge there. Really nice finished look.
Why does this one look more elevated right here, like that right there, versus like this one I can see the stitching that goes back and forth?
Probably just because of the way I pulled
Okay.
the knots.
Should it be
So-
laying like that? Is that what we're going for? That like back and forth like in the top stitch? Do you see what I'm saying? Because
I
that
do.
bottom one looks a little bit more like it's upturned. Is it just the pull?
Yes, because this is where I need to bite it a little bit more because I need to try and get those. You really want it to have that upturned look because all of those little knots should be resting right along the top and right along the edge.
Upturned is this guy.
Just so that it
Sticks out.
yeah, so you
Okay.
have the knots all resting right along the top.
Okay.
Now the easiest way to finish this out, you could either tie it off by catching a little bit of thread and tying a knot, but what I find to be a nice finish for this one is actually to put the needle back through underneath all of those stitches that I just made. So we don't see it at all on this side, it's just catching a little bit of that. And pull it through. And clip it close, and then what I've done there is I've buried the tail of my thread, so you can't even see any of the thread left.
Will it like come out in any way or?
It will not. That's the nice thing about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool?
Upset.
Wow, that's really labor intensive.
And you don't
It
iron
is.
it. You don't like press it or anything.
No, not with this one. You don't want to press it because you don't want to ruin the little knots that you've
Okay.
made. You want them to be like delicate little pearls sitting on top of your fabric.
So what about the machine? Would you press that?
Yeah, you probably want to press